The year is 1914. Europe stands on the edge of catastrophe. Trains thunder toward the front, carrying millions who believe the war will be over by Christmas. They are wrong. Among the crowds in Paris is a young woman named Camille Durand, 22 years old, a student of medicine, quiet but determined. She does not dream of glory. She dreams of healing. When the first wounded return from the Marne, she volunteers for the Red Cross. What she finds will change her forever. The hospitals overflow. Corridors become wards, beds spill into stairwells. Camille moves from cot to cot, wrapping bandages until her fingers bleed. The smell of disinfectant mixes with blood and fear. She learns to work by instinct, one hand steady, one heart breaking. In the evenings she writes in a small notebook, "If I cannot stop the war, at least I can stop the bleeding." Outside, trains groan through the night, bringing more men from Verdun. Inside, she begins to understand that courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to look away. By 1915, Camille volunteers for field duty near Reims. The hospital tents crouch behind the lines, canvas shivering with each distant explosion. She works beside nurses from Britain, Belgium, and even neutral nations. They speak in many languages but share one prayer: let this day end with fewer dying than yesterday. Shells fall close enough to rattle the lamps. Camille holds the hand of a soldier whose leg is gone. He whispers a name she will never know, and she stays until his breathing stops. When the guns pause, she steps outside and sees poppies blooming in the mud, fragile red against gray ruin. For a moment, she feels that life still dares to exist. Orders arrive. The hospital must move closer to the front. Camille rides in an ambulance over cratered roads. At night, she and the driver navigate by the light of burning villages. Every stop brings more wounded. French, German, sometimes civilians caught between lines. To Camille, they are all the same. People torn by a machine that no longer remembers why it began. One evening, a German boy, no older than 17, is carried in. The soldiers hesitate, unsure if they should help the enemy. Camille steps forward first. She cleans his wound, wraps it, and whispers in broken German that he will live. Around her, silence. Then slowly the others join her. For one fragile night, compassion disobeys the war. Rumors spread. Someone is helping prisoners escape through the hospital's supply routes. Camille knows who it is, a Belgian orderly risking his life to send men home. When the military police arrive, she faces a choice. To tell the truth is to condemn him. To lie is to risk herself. She chooses silence. The orderly is caught anyway. Camille is questioned for hours, accused of sympathy for the enemy. Her hands tremble, but she never breaks. Afterward, she returns to the ward and resumes stitching a soldier's wound. Her voice is calm as she tells him he will live. That night she cries for the first time since the war began. Not for fear, but for the weight of doing what is right. Verdun burns for months. The hospital receives train after train of shattered bodies. Camille works until her eyesight blurs, guided only by habit and hope. She begins to lose count of the men she has saved, and of those she could not. Once, gas victims arrive, their lungs scorched, eyes blinded. She removes their masks, wipes their faces, and prays they can breathe again. The smell of chlorine lingers for days. At night, she dreams of green mist rolling through the wards. Yet even here, fragments of humanity survive. A violinist with one arm plays for the others. A nurse shares her last piece of chocolate. Camille smiles, realizing that even in the heart of darkness, kindness refuses to die. By 1917, exhaustion covers France like a second trench coat. Camille's hair is streaked with gray. The war feels endless, yet rumors whisper of American help, of a possible end. She is transferred to a ruined monastery, converted into a hospital. The stone walls echo with the moans of the wounded and the chants of the wind. Here she treats soldiers of every nation, proof that suffering knows no uniform. When supplies run out, she tears her own sheets for bandages. When morphine is gone, she holds their hands until the pain subsides. One night, a shell strikes the courtyard. The blast throws her to the floor. When the dust settles, she crawls to the others, checking pulse after pulse. Her courage becomes quiet, methodical, a light that refuses to extinguish. November 1918. Word spreads that the Germans seek peace. The guns begin to fall silent, one front after another. Camille works through the final night, tending to men who will never hear the bells of armistice. At 11 a.m., the thunder stops. For the first time in 4 years, the world holds its breath. She steps outside. The air is still. Birds return to the shattered trees. Tears streak her face as she thinks of those who did not live to see this moment. She kneels, presses her hands into the cold earth, and whispers that she will never forget them. After the war, Camille returns to Paris. She no longer wears the Red Cross uniform, yet the war never leaves her. She helps build clinics for veterans, teaches new nurses, and speaks of mercy as the greatest act of courage. Years later, when people ask what kept her alive, she answers simply, "Love, even in war, is a form of resistance." The story of Camille Durand is not written in medals or monuments. It lives in every act of compassion that defies hatred, in every nurse who walks into danger to save another life. This was her war. This was her courage. WW1 Tales, where history speaks through those who lived it.